Okay, I want to welcome everybody tonight, and we're ready to get started, so let's stand and have our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's about time to have a moment of silence, and if you would please remember the Miller family. Tammy, would you do a roll call of members?
Patty Anderson.
Here.
Carrie Armagost.
Here.
Megan Blair.
Here.
Brady Pike.
Here.
Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Jermaine Stump.
Here.
Eric Sunling.
Here.
Kelly Stilliger.
Here. Thank you. All right, do we have any suggestions for the minutes? If none, do we have someone who would like to waive the reading and approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we waive the reading and approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public participation. I don't believe we have any tonight that I know of. So we will move on to presentations. And at this time, we have Kara Raybuck, who is going to do a presentation for us on the mental health aspect.
Hi, I don't know where else is.
Wherever you're more comfortable.
So my name is Kara Raybuck, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've worked at AC Valley in different capacities for like 10 years. And recently I came back to AC Valley when they needed a school-based therapist, and no one wanted to drive this far. But I knew a lot of the staff and administration at AC Valley from before, and I was definitely willing to come back here. And one of the things that I want to let you all know is that there is a culture here at AC Valley that is not everywhere. I worked over the summer months as far as providing therapy to students, and I had 56 appointments over the summer months. Only 2 of those students could drive, so your parents really valued this and made sure their kids were able to get to their appointments. And I am in contact with other school-based therapists. They didn't work at all in the summer. They didn't have the parent support, community support to be able to do that. So I think it's really important that you know that. I don't know if you would know that if I wasn't telling you that. The county, Clarion County as a whole, has attempted to eliminate barriers for mental health treatment for students. And it was identified that students between the ages of 3 and 12 were being underserved for whatever reason, whether it was because they were not appropriate for talk therapy, whether, just developmentally they couldn't do that, and they felt like we need to figure out another way to service these students. And so they decided that they would train 10 of us to become registered play therapists. And this idea of having play therapists in an elementary school is not a new concept, but it is new here in this area. But in other parts of the country, it's a staple. It's a normal, everyday service that's provided to families. Through this process, those of us that are finishing up in November, we will be registered play therapists, and your elementary school is the only elementary school in Clarion County that has a play therapy room in it. And I don't know if you knew that either, if I wasn't telling you that. But in the past year of providing play therapy to students, I have been able to serve students in a way that I have never served students before. And I have worked in this community since 2010. So I don't know what that works out to be, but over this last year, I think we have really found something that's hugely beneficial to this age of students, to your school district, I think we're seeing, these kids who are growing and developing and doing better, they're going home and families are healthier because these kids are being served in a way. I think that's why you have the parent participation and the support that you have. And so I brought information for all of you to help you understand play therapy. I don't know who these are all board members, right? Good. Okay. Thank you. And I, sure. Oh, sorry. It's okay. You seem important in that pen too. No. And so some of the things that ultimately, like big picture, that we would see from this opportunity is we would see improvement in attendance. We would see fewer behavior problems because kids would be able to self-regulate. Play therapy is something that is approved for trauma treatment as well. And you don't have a human walking in any of these buildings who has not experienced COVID. So we have all experienced something that requires, maybe that we didn't grow through and came out on the other side better than when we went into. And so it's estimated that for a kiddo who experienced significant trauma, that 20 play therapy sessions, you would see drastic improvement for them. And that's not that long. When you consider that some young children have been in talk therapy or received wraparound services or were sent out of district to another classroom, that usually turns into years of that type of intervention. And so this is a way that students heal and grow faster, and the results are, I think, obvious for a lot of us, and especially the parents. The parents definitely recognize the benefit. So I put my cell phone number in there if anybody had questions after looking through the information. If you have any questions for me now, I would be more than happy to answer them for you.
Just keep in mind that we use grant money to contract carers, so they come and work with these kids.
What grade levels did you serve? K through 12 when you were here? When you get through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, so when you were having therapy sessions this summer, they were here in the school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They were for elementary. They were at the elementary building, and for the high school students, they were up here.
Okay. Cool. How many days, Kara, are you here?
This school year, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 4 days.
4 days a week. Good. Wow.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we will move on to board concerns. So before we start, we have the opportunity to do something nice. I get to present Janine with her certificate of appreciation for eight years. 8 years, right, David?
Thanks.
8 years on the school board. So we appreciate all your, yeah, right there in big white, it says 8 years. So thank you, Janine. Thanks for giving us 8 years. We appreciate it. Okay, any other board concerns? I need to bring up one. I received an email today from Karen Hetrick. We need to talk about her schedule for next year, this coming year. I thought when we had brought this position up and we didn't hire that we were going to keep Karen strictly doing what she does at the elementary and then working with the band up here. But according to her, and I'm going to ask Bill, she's scheduled for covering a study hall and a lunch.
I'm pulling the schedule up right now,
Okay.
just to be sure. That is correct.
Okay, Karen has some concerns about being able to fulfill all of her teaching duties at the elementary. Is there any way we can, I mean, what's other thoughts on that?
Yeah, she definitely needs to be, just solely the band, or like I said before, we hire another person to fill a vacancy and not absorb it into other positions.
So is there someone else you can get to cover? Because I think we had told Karen that we would not have her do those extra duties.
Either, maybe that message wasn't, clear to me. I was under the assumption that it would be similar to, the former band director's schedule, in which he had numerous coverages. Here's my take on it. I mean, she has the entire morning up till 11:30. That's completely open every single day.
But does that include her individual lessons?
Elementary
That would be
lessons,
to
correct?
be able to schedule individual lessons. Scott never even had that much time.
But that would be elementary lessons though, right?
She's like jam-packed, I think, Lori, I mean.
Yeah, so normally Karen taught 2 music classes for me and then had like breakfast duty and lunch duty. I eliminated all of that except for a lunch duty because I was strapped for lunches, but Jenny is going to teach all the music, so Karen doesn't have those 2 music classes. And nor does she have morning duty. And that would free her up because I assume she has her lessons for me and then band, which is not like band in high school. She does 5th grade band and 6th grade band. Closer to concert time, she combines them. But that's once for 5th and once for 6th in the 6-day rotation. So it's not an everyday band class like in high school. And I've traditionally let Jenny and Karen work out with the 5th and 6th or 4th, 5th and 6th teachers when the best time is to have band or choir in their schedules. Then for Karen, she also had lessons and she has always scheduled those herself. So I took away the scheduled classes and told Bill that like he has scheduled classes he needed her for, and then around that she could schedule what she needs to schedule elementary lesson wise and high school lesson wise. So that's kind of where we left it. And so I can't tell you for sure how many lessons she has or what time she has them with me. I just kind of tried to free her up.
So-
Using Jenny.
So how many periods is she scheduled at the high school for actual classes?
Actual classes, just junior high band. Her schedule right now, as it appears in what I put in there, is lunch starting at 11:35, then lunch coverage for our second lunch, which is 7th period up here at high school. Then ISS/study hall for period 8. Period 9 would be junior high band, and then period 10 is her prep.
Do you not have any kids in senior high band this year?
3. I don't know if any have joined since the last time I checked, but that was the number.
So they just lumped in with the junior high band and, okay.
Yes.
Well, I think as a board, when we met with them and we talked, the idea was that she would be not having any coverage so that she could have as many lessons as possible. And that was my remembrance. Am I correct?
That's what I recall as well.
So am I correct in saying that we would like her not to cover lunch and study hall if at all possible?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to her to be pulled into 2 different buildings and do coverages for buildings as well as trying to maintain 2 different band programs. That's not fair or realistic in my opinion.
I know it's late to ask you, Bill, is there any way you can find coverage?
It may be possible for that study hall, but for that lunch coverage, I mean, I'm short on people as it is. And that's having and moving Mrs. Otten's schedule up a little bit, so she's here for both those periods. But I just don't have coverage.
Okay. So lunch would be, is it 40 minutes? 35?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay. What are your thoughts? I mean,
Could we go to Karen and ask her to come if we take the study hall?
if she would just
She
do
could,
lunch?
still could do the lunch. I mean,
She does lunch down the elementary too.
She did, she's not this time,
No,
right?
that's the only thing I kept her in.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have anybody to fill her lunch slot.
So every day she does 2 lunch periods.
I think she had asked us to
She's always done one for me.
relieve her of that.
She
That
did.
was a specific.
That was a very, one of her main concerns.
She had an extra workload.
And I thought the point was to try to foster that sense of,
So that she could have more lessons.
right.
So we can get more students involved, hopefully, and
Yeah.
grow the program.
I just hate, and if we can hire somebody else part-time to cover lunches, I just feel like if we're paying teachers, we should pay them to teach, not to cover study hall lunch. I know that happens, but it's just not the most useful use of our funds, I guess, in my opinion. And I know you're short on
Advertised
staff.
that For 2 years.
And we've been
Right.
trying to get somebody, and we can't get anybody.
Maybe, put it out there again and see if Karen will cover until we can get someone hired on a part-time basis, even, but
What's the pay for the part-time basis?
I don't know, what would the hourly rate be? It would be about the same as an aid rate, right?
If I can make one comment also, and this is in regards to why lunch periods are so difficult. I can't see that there would be a band person, a band student that would be available for lessons during that time. So 7th period would mean that it would be any 8th or 9th grade student, or 7th or 8th grade student that would be available to get lessons during that time. At the same time that that period is going on, though, if I scroll down here and look at the classes, we have Spanish 7, I have special ed English class, computer lit and keyboard application. So those electives that students have during 7th and 8th grade, those are the ones that we put in those 2 periods. So I don't even know that she would be able to pull a student.
But would she be able to do elementary lessons
She
during
could
that
do
time?
an elementary lesson.
I also think that it would be useful to have her, give her some time to regather herself and refocus from one program to another, or to pull music, or to, work on plans, or, strategize or practice for upcoming events and whatnot, especially when I try to grow the program.
We did tell her we try to get her relieved from that coverage.
Yes, we did, so. I think we should re-advertise.
Or have we been sharing job openings on our Facebook page so that those can be shared publicly?
Yes.
Okay.
We can re-advertise for the lunch monitor.
also
Andrea looked it up, we pay $10 per hour.
You said it was $10 an hour, David?
Yes.
And how many hours do you need of that to cover in this situation?
I'm not sure where Joyce is at right now. Generally around 3 hours per day is what we've had in the past, but we've been intermittent with filling those positions, so it's been a while. And that could help with some of the study hall coverage. They can do 2 lunches in the study hall potentially.
She's 3.5 hours.
Could we look into the possibility of raising that? Because I know $10 an hour doesn't get me excited at all. I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I
the only
mean,
problem is if we raise that, then you got aid salaries and you got, it's a,
I don't disagree, but if we've been advertising for 2 years, it's obviously not enough.
What's the base for an aid?
I don't know.
Child specific aid is around $13 per hour.
Could we not match that?
Because this is not part of the union position, it's just an hourly rate. Could,
I would think should make it an 8, isn't it? Similar to an 8 position, and then maybe we'd get more interest.
Do we have a part-time aide who we could, of course, their hours have to be under so many. I didn't know if there'd be any way they could take a half hour and cover lunch.
we don't have a part-time aide, we moved Danielle in full-time.
So we have no part-time aides at this point.
What about that full-time aide? Could she monitor our lunch?
About this time. She's part of that emotional support, K through 6 program that we have in place. And that's the time when they have to take their lunch as well, work with the students in the AM.
I think we should advertise it at a higher rate, at an A rate, and if we need even more hours, if they need 4 hours a day or whatever, I think maybe that's what we put out there. Maybe we'll get somebody that's interested in taking it.
Definitely, yeah.
We can make that motion tonight. If you approve that, then we can continue to move forward.
I
So
think we
then-
need to consider what Joyce is at too. I have no idea, but if we're gonna raise that, she probably needs to raise it.
And she's not interested in more hours. Mrs. On.
She's probably
No, I think she's
interested in
probably
less
said
hours.
retired.
That's going the wrong direction, Joyce.
I was kind of surprised she was still here when they said she was still.
So if we're gonna raise this position from 10 to 13, that's a $3 difference. We raise Joyce's position, then give her a $3 raise an hour to
We're gonna have
compensate.
I'd wanna see where she's at first.
But starting out, are we still gonna make Karen cover those 3 extra?
Well, we start in 2 days, so I think
Yeah.
she's gonna have to.
So you can have somebody cover the study halls.
I can
Okay.
fix the study hall.
So we can let her know that we're working on it, that we're gonna not have her cover study hall, but at the moment, we still have to have lunches until we figure it out,
Till we get somebody hired.
till we get somebody hired. I do know somebody that approached me Sunday about, they're putting in their application for cafeteria, maybe I can.
No.
Strong arm her to.
Tell us how you
I was
really
working
feel,
on bus
Stacy.
drivers during my contractor meeting. I said, it's a perfect job for a bus driver. You drive in the morning, you
True.
drive in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
yes.
and I know bus drivers who've done that in the
Yeah,
past.
I thought I had 2 of them, but apparently they didn't follow through.
Maybe let them know what raise.
Yeah.
I'll
text them and let them
Yeah.
know maybe.
Yeah.
Tonight, they're like, raise all the.
Yes.
I
Okay,
will say, like, probably, like, this week especially, Karen is not gonna have elementary lessons. So
Yeah.
This
so if
week
we
it's
can
not
get
gonna be
something in
as
the next
tedious.
month, and hopefully that will.
Yeah, because she'll have to have instrument rental night and all of that.
All right, we'll work on it and see what we can do, and I'll let her know that.
So we need to make a motion then to re-advertise that higher rate.
When we do that new business.
Let's do it under new business. Let me do that. Okay, do we have any other board concerns?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for putting together tonight's ceremony. I think that was a great tribute to Mr. Botts. And so David and Bill and Kelly, Tammy, everybody that worked to put that together, I think you all deserve some recognition as well.
Thank you.
Nice
Just
job.
gathered some things together, so. Want to also, glad to have Carrie back from her surgery, and thanking Diane for getting, from us, the board, helping you out a little bit, so.
Much appreciated.
I'll remind everybody that we owe Diane if you didn't see her yet, so as we move on. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items you would like pulled from the consent agenda and voted on separately?
Item B, please.
Item B?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll pull that and we'll add that in under, should we add that under personnel, David, or just,
We can do a separate motion right now under.
okay. All right, so we will vote on the consent agenda for letters. Okay. There's 2 Bs on here, but we're talking about,
Two Bs.
Be number 1.
so it really should be, it's probably D. Let's renumber these. It would be letter D, huh? That's okay. We're gonna fire you, Tammy, no. Are you kidding?
Hey,
you ain't, please, fire.
Once you get this job, you can't get out. You're stuck with us.
You're in it for life.
Yes. When you do a good job, we expect you to stay forever. All right, so we're talking about letter D, Brady?
B.
The first B.
The first B, okay. The first B. All right, so we need to vote on A, C, D, and E. Have someone who would make a motion?
Make a motion to vote on A, C, D, and E.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, so we'll move on to item B on the old consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve item B?
I'll make a motion to approve item B.
I second it.
Okay, it's approved and seconded. Any discussion?
So David, you said that, so for Amelia to come in here, it's under the Act 91 that is no longer in effect. Is it going to the House and Senate right now? Or
It passed the House from the way I understand it, sitting in the Senate chambers, and they're in recess right now. So there's no Act 91
Okay,
in place right now.
okay. And was it do you know the voting, how it voted when it went through? I mean, was it high passing?
I don't know, but there was I believe it was 86, and it ran for 2 years, and then Act 91 followed up. So it went the 2021, 22 school year, I believe.
Okay, okay.
So there was an act, they feel as if it was passed, but, again, until it's voted on.
Can we table that particular portion
That's what I was
until we
wondering.
know it's been passed or not?
Yep, we could do that. We're just, because we're so short on subs, anticipating that it would be passed. We do have 4 teachers on our sub list right now who are all under Act 91, and that's in front of you this evening.
Can we vote pending approval of, rather than tabling it, just for time's sake?
We could, that could really help us out, just because, again, the discussion we're having, we don't have subs. And that's what we're trying to get out of.
Right.
So
I would
yes,
just
that's
say if we go pending approval of
Act 91.
Act 91, so that we're not delaying the process here a whole lot of time.
So the guest teachers from the IU are all.
No, the guest teacher is a little bit different. I mean, they all have college degrees, and then they took the guest teaching program, and they're certified. So the Act 91 provides retired educators as well as educators who are currently enrolled with 60 or more credits to this.
But so I misunderstood then. You said we currently do have subs under Act 91.
Yes.
That have already been.
Yeah, I believe, and Timmy could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have 4 total that we use.
The secretaries were told not to call them.
Yeah, and we're not calling them until it's passed, but we just have Mia down in front of the group to add to that list to help support the other.
So then what is going to be the chain of command? Because Lori can't be her supervisor. So if there's an issue, who's going to be her direct supervisor?
We're working on the nepotism process policy right now, and I have a document that we could add to that policy, so we don't necessarily have that in place at this time.
Okay, I really would feel a lot better if we tabled it until it passes, and then we have a strong understanding of what the chain of command is going to be, rather than just going into it blindly, because I don't think that's fair to anybody involved.
We also have other situations similar to that within the district as well.
That's fine too. I didn't realize there was other situations like that. I'm fine addressing them as well.
But that's a similar situation.
Okay, we can address that as well, and put them into the same category so we can follow that, but we need to have something in place rather than just saying, well, we'll get to it when it comes up. That's not okay. That's not fair.
I think David would be the chain of command in this situation. I mean, in my opinion, where David is Lori's supervisor, so if there was an issue, David would be the one to handle it, just like any other business, or, if there's a conflict of interest, the person with higher responsibility is the one to handle that. I don't see a need, to table it. That's just my personal opinion. Just in case something were to happen, I think Amelia's a good kid. I've known her forever. I would just trust David to handle any personnel issue that would present itself,
No, and I don't think there's going to be any problems at all. I just want to make sure that we have something in place, so if something would happen, then we got all understanding what's to be done in the next steps then. Is my only concern.
So David, are you okay with, technically you would be the next person in line to,
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine supervising both the substitutes that we're talking about, just because of the need that we have in the district, and they're both great teachers. I don't have a problem with that at all. I could create an internal document that we could follow until we get the policy in place.
to say that you were their supervisor.
I can sit down and have a meeting with them as well as, Dr. Jordan, Mr. Sherman.
that's.
I think so.
Yeah.
So we're ready to vote. Is there any other discussion?
How do you want the motion to read then?
Yeah, we're changing that pending.
Any approval of that, anyone?
Yeah,
Pending.
pending approval.
Well, it kind of already says that, Act 91 to be determined, so, right? Isn't that what the TBD stand means? That it's to be, once we get the, I mean, legally, we can't do anything until it's passed, so.
Wasn't, to be honest with you, I thought the to be determined meant the classroom management. So I wasn't putting it towards the.
Yeah, I think it means that the Act
TBD.
91, it'll
Is that what
depend
the
on the
TBD
Act
means?
91 in the legislature.
Okay.
Does it need to be a special act? It's called Act 91.
Oh, I thought maybe that's where she was gonna be going or something. Okay, never mind.
Do you want to pull it off separate as a separate item on the other ones and do 2 votes?
What off separate?
Pull the Act 91s.
Because Melissa Bowser.
I mean, I don't think we need to if we're gonna, if we're okay with the way, it's up to you guys. I mean, I think it's fine the way it is, because we have the wording in there, that in this particular case, it will be to be determined based on the legislature and that act. But we can, if that's what you guys want to do.
I think it's fine as it is. Excuse me.
Okay.
That's just my personal understanding what it means.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. All right, we're ready to move on to finance and purchase, Meg.
I'm gonna lump A through E together, make a motion to approve those items.
Okay. Moved in second. Is there any discussion on any of those items? I believe we have started paying and ordering supplies once the budget was passed, correct? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter F, cafeteria report, Mrs. Redding.
Okay, so it's been a little bit of an interesting summer, but we're up, we're running. We actually had a test run today. We did a staff breakfast and we did find a little glitches and a few things that don't work, so it was kind of nice to figure out, but we're all ready to roll out for Wednesday. We did complete the paid lunch equity tool this year, and we are again mandated to raise our paid lunch prices by 10 cents. In all actuality, the state would like it raised a quarter, but there's a cap for 10 cents. The price index raise this year was 7%. So it was a very, very large difference, but it was a 10-cent increase for our paid kids. Now, on the good side of that, all the kids are free for breakfast again this year. So there will not be a price of breakfast K through 12 for any student, whether they're free, reduced, or paid lunch. Now, good news, our free kids and our reduced kids, whether they're based on SNAP, Medicaid, homeless foster, or income, the state voted that all reduced price children would also receive a free meal. So all of our free children, all of our reduced children will be free for lunch this year. Really hoping that maybe they might do something for that paid level of kids for families that are just over that hump of not getting any help that really need it. But that didn't happen this year, but maybe we'll get fortunate next year, but that's where we'll be. I typically get the paid lunch equity tool done right away at the beginning of July, but the state had a formula in a cell right at the beginning of the worksheet and it didn't work. So it gave us nothing but errors. So until they went in and they fixed the formula, we couldn't use the beginning pages to go all the way through and figure what our prices would be. So next year it won't happen in August before school starts.
Question, while I'm thinking about it, I have to ask, or I'll forget. So when they get a free lunch, that's just the basic lunch.
They
Right.
have to take a reimbursable meal.
Okay, so if they want something from a la carte or
They
they
have
have to pay for it?
Yes.
Okay, because I think some parents were getting confused that they thought free lunch was free lunch, no matter what the kids got. So whenever they would get.
We try to explain, they get a free reimbursable meal.
Okay,
Anything outside of that,
they pay for it.
they pay for.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't just keep coming back as much
Okay.
as you want per.
Right, and I think that was and again, it just was confusing because I was thinking the same thing. How do they know what's free, what isn't free? And they would say they get a bill in the mail, but the lunch was free. Well, I said they must have been, that's when I said they must be buying off.
Well, they're not allowed to buy a la carte if they have a negative balance.
Okay.
So not quite sure.
Or so there was something, or maybe they came home and said they needed money. There was something
Well, now
confusion
here's,
about that.
this is a situation that's happening. A child will pack a lunch. And the child does not get enough to eat, so they come through for a reimbursable lunch. We cannot not deny them that meal if they come through. So we did have a parent that was very upset because she was getting a lunch bill for her high school student that was packing his own lunch. But he was coming through the line, and Dr. Jordan and I talked to her on the phone together, and he continued to do that. So when we spoke to her, we said, we cannot deny him when he comes through this reimbursable meal. We can't do that. So that is something you're gonna have to have a discussion on your end. But no, if you have a negative balance in your lunch, you can't buy anything. If you're a free child or reduced, the cost to you is going to be zero. You will not be charged for anything, nor will you be allowed an a la carte item because you don't have any money in your.
Yeah, and it might have been the kid came home and said, I need money or something. I forget what it was, but it was like, well, the food is free. Why do I have to send money with my
Because
child?
they want extra stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why.
I just wanted to clarify that I
Yes, no,
understood that. Okay.
that's fine. I'm trying to cut down through here. Oh, this is the biggest thing in the entire world right now to me. Grace Barlett emailed me a week or two ago, Grace, and she said, hey, I remember you saying you were having trouble getting people filling out the free and reduced lunch forms. And what can I do to help? Because I'd really like to make up a flyer or a booklet or something. And could you give me some information? I was like, yep. And so I sent her what she could. She sent it back to me. I added a few things, and these are going home with every single student. They're gonna hang up in the buildings because her being young and myself being old, I would have never in a million years thought to put a scan bar with the letter and the application on it.
Right.
That was brilliant, and the kids now, if they don't have it or if they know, they can scan it, they can take it home, and it's not sending a letter home, they don't have to have a printer. It was phenomenal. I can't say enough and how much you helped me and how absolutely grateful I am.
Yay, Grace.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, I'm really looking forward to having a full staff this year. So when they apply, leave me alone, but no.
I won't tell her to do the cafeteria.
We are full right now with one that I hope will get past this evening. I have a sub full-time right now. I'm waiting on another one that was to get her application in prior to this meeting. She did not. I'm hoping she'll take full-time and we can hire her next month. But I did receive word today that I do have one that may be heading out for open heart surgery in the middle of October. So that being said, I'm hoping we can pick up a couple subs, but as we have in the past, we'll make it work. We'll do what we need to do and we'll just go from there. But I'll keep it short and that's all I have for you this evening.
Thank you.
I was actually thinking I could get my husband to do this, and then he would be home all day with me.
Letter G, consideration to approve increasing the cost of paid lunches only by the 10-cent cap per the PLE tool for the 2023-2024 school year. This increase will make the student price $2.65 per lunch. So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
H, consideration to accept the donation to be used for books for the library from the AC Valley class of 1967 in the amount of $160.25 as attached. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I, consideration to accept the donation for use of facilities for the annual meeting from Central Electric Cooperative Incorporated in the amount of $1,600 as attached. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
We do want to thank Mark Milford and Aaron Heil for helping out with that event. They went over flawlessly and they really enjoyed it, and hopefully it will become a yearly event. So thanks from Central Electric to the school board as well.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Carrie, will you do personnel for us?
Sure. Letter A, consideration to approve re-advertising for a head varsity boys basketball coach. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Letter B, consideration to accept the letter of resignation as junior high girls basketball coach from Brianne Sellers. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
C, consideration to approve advertising for a junior high girls basketball coach. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to jump in. Now, the girls' program's at Union, and isn't it the consensus of the athletic committee that the union would be hiring the coaches moving forward?
Good point.
I'm not sure that's getting on the agenda. We're just through attrition, that's what we're.
So
Right in
That
So we
should
really
be
don't need to
voted.
hire.
That should
So
be
we
voted
don't need
no.
to hire,
No, because it would be union's position.
So we can just
take C
vote
out.
no. Vote
Yeah,
no.
vote no.
That committee then, that joint committee should be working on that, correct?
And union should be advertised.
Right, yeah.
Can somebody double check and make sure that's what they are doing, just so they have a coach or there's advertising for a coach somewhere from somebody?
I wonder if Scott's.
I can call Scott Kendall tomorrow and discuss that with him.
So then are we tabling this?
I would say.
My
My recommendation.
We're gonna vote
would be to
no.
vote it no, but
Okay.
whatever you'd like to do.
I guess we could bring it back up if we have to.
Okay, so all those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining? Motion carries. We will not be advertising.
All right, letter D, consideration to approve transferring Danielle Lutz from the part-time 3.75 hours per day child-specific aid to a full-time 7.5 hour per day child-specific aid position and an hourly rate of $13.33. All required paperwork is currently on file in the district office, and the probationary period of 60 workdays has been completed. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter E, consideration to approve appointing Carrie Longo as Federal Programs All Grants Coordinator beginning July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, at a supplemental salary of $15,000. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter F, consideration to approve the request from Morgan Craddy upon receipt of all appropriate documentation to be a volunteer with the JV Varsity Girls Volleyball Program for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to
Letter G,
letter G.
consideration to approve the request from Cullen McNanny to remain a volunteer with the varsity football team for the 2023-2024 season as attached. All required paperwork is currently on file in the district office. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the request from Bryn Chalmers to remain a volunteer with the varsity football team for the 2023-2024 season as attached. All required paperwork is currently on file in the district office. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Sorry, guys, I should have lumped those all together.
You're fine.
I, consideration to approve the request from Julie Myers to remain a volunteer with the junior high varsity cheerleaders for the 2023-2024 season as attached. All required paperwork is currently on file in the district office. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter J, consideration to accept the letter of retirement dated July 24th, 2023 from June Maley, part-time cafeteria worker, effective June 1st, 2023 as attached. June has been an employee with the district since October of 2000. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
K, consideration to accept the letter of retirement dated August 2nd, 2023 from Antoinette Klein, part-time cafeteria worker as attached. Tony has been an employee with the district since September of 2005. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter L, consideration to approve hiring Jessica Schmidt as a part-time cafeteria worker upon receipt of all appropriate documentation, contingent upon 60 workday probationary period at an hourly rate of $15.54. Upon completion of the 60-day workday probationary period, the hourly rate will be $16.64 per hour. All required paperwork is currently on file in the district office. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
M, consideration to approve advertising for a part-time permanent cafeteria position. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
N, consideration to approve advertising for an anticipated maintenance technician position. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter O, consideration to approve the substitute roster for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter P, consideration to approve the athletic volunteer roster for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Janine, would you lead us in instructional services?
Sure, the elementary report, Mrs. Sherman. So I have two things I wanted to touch on, and then the majority of my report is going to be focused on the items under consideration for your approval under federal programs. So first of all, I wanted to tell you, we did have kindergarten orientation tonight down at the elementary school at 4 o'clock. We had great turnout. I think just about all of our registered students were there. We currently do have 47 registered, with 3 more set to register this week. So we will have a kindergarten class of 50 this year. So that's good news. And I just wanted to make a comment about transportation in case any of you all had heard from anyone that their all-call messages were messed up. We did have an issue with our all-call messages that went out on Thursday regarding transportation. The all-call was pulling from a former list, so it really affected students who had ridden a bus and had a change since last year. So if they changed mid-year last year or beginning of this year, their all-call was telling them that they were on their old bus. So I fielded quite a few calls. And we have righted that. We figured out what the problem was. We've got everybody where they should be, and we are going to reissue those calls tomorrow so that people hear that they just want to be reassured that their student has the right bus assigned. So even though I fielded a lot of calls just to make sure everybody has that peace of mind. And to the community, if you should be getting that all call around midday tomorrow, that will allow you to call in if you still think that there's an issue with the bus you're assigned. I also would direct anybody getting those calls to make sure they go to the website to look for their approximate times along the route, and to remember in the first few days, allow yourself like 10 extra minutes. Bus routes the first few days are always thrown off by drivers getting used to their new routes, parents taking pictures, those kinds of things sometimes hold them up a little bit. So be a little flexible the first few days, and then by next week we should be in the routine of normal times. So the two items under instructional services for approval tonight deal with our federal programs. That's the Title I handbook and the school-wide plan. And it is a requirement that we have those both board approved each year. So just to let you know a little bit about those two things that you're approving. The Title I handbook includes items like our district calendar, our federal program staff, our school plan with the stakeholder involvement that we had for the year, the parent right to know information, the Title I family evaluation, which is a survey that goes home with all of the students at the beginning of school, the elementary school compact, and our family engagement policy. There were no major changes to any of that. It's all the same as it's been in past years. So really the changes there were to dates and the staff or committee members that needed updated. As part of that handbook though is the school-wide plan. And there were changes there because that is the part that we update to show how we're using Title I funds to support our plan. And that's just to be in compliance with Title I mandates. So our school-wide plan establishes the school's educational priorities for the year, and then an action plan for how we intend to meet what those goals are that we set with our committee of stakeholders. We did have 2 virtual meetings this year, and I just want to kind of put a plug out there. We do advertise those on Facebook. We end up usually personally inviting people to come because we don't have a lot of attendance at those kinds of things. So, encourage your constituents to, when they see that stuff, to jump on, because, that's when they hear about the kinds of things we're planning instructionally, the parent engagement programs that we want to have, and it's their chance to have a voice in all of that. So we'll get our surveys back with people saying that, they didn't have an opportunity to participate, and I think that they're just not aware that that is the opportunity. So we do appreciate those who did participate. We'd just like to see more participation in that. But anyway, what we established as what we wanted to focus our goals on this year was around our collaboration with Patton and IU6 to further implementing a multi-tiered system of support, which you'll hear as MTSS. And our focus is on our tier 1 or core instruction and classroom interventions. Our hope is that by restructuring how we use our support personnel, like our reading specialists and our math coach and our title aid, that we can address student needs better at tier 1 to reduce the need for tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. So kind of right to the triangle. Right now we're a little heavy in tiers 2 and 3, and we should be heavier at tier 1. So we're looking forward to collaborating with those 2 entities and get their support in meeting those goals. So that was just what I wanted to let you know about those 2 things that you're voting on, so you kind of have a better understanding of what those items were. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, so we need to, consideration to approve the Allegheny Clearing Valley Elementary School Plan for the 2023-2024 school year as attached, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And consideration to approve the Allegheny Clearing Valley School District K-6 School-Wide Title I Programming Handbook 2023-2024 and School-Wide Title Plan 2023-2024 as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And secondary report.
If you've had an opportunity to walk around the school, you will see that it is absolutely beautiful. We are ready for students. We held our 7th grade and new student orientation tonight as well. I was up in the auditorium at 5 o'clock, and we probably had as many people up there as what we had down here for the ceremony. So the 7th grade orientation continues to be one of the more attended activities that we have here at the high school when it comes to academics. I appreciate that those parents value education and bring their students here to kind of get a taste for their schedule for this year. At each of your seats, I placed a handbook for this year. I just wanted to make one note to all of you. You may or may not hear from students or parents about it. This is the thickest this handbook can be. So it was actually 2 pages over. And so I had to take out the school's acceptable use policy, print it separately, and put it in as an addendum to be able to make it happen. According to Mr. Irwin, who does our printing, he says that if we go even one more page, we actually have to put a binding on the back of this to be able to hold it. So that we have to think about that in the future. It's getting tougher and tougher. I can't make the print any smaller. We just simply can't add anymore. It'd be nice if we could take some of it out. But if you get a chance, look down through that. I encourage every student to go through the handbook with their parent, as the signature page states, and sign off on it and return that signature to us. Fall athletics has already started. If you haven't noticed, we have cheerleaders, football players, we have volleyball coming in and practicing. The school has become a busy place in the last 2 weeks. Please check out the athletic calendar, competition dates. Those things generally don't change a whole lot in the fall, but there are always exceptions to that. One item that I would like to discuss with the board, Scott Kendall contacted me and he would like to schedule a joint athletic committee meeting, and it's in regard to similar to the situation we're talking about tonight. Union hosts sport X, and we'll hire those employees that will be coaching those programs. Or on the flip side, we have programs and we will hire those. That's what we've discussed. The question came into play regarding volunteers for those programs. Should AC Valley volunteers over here for the football program as an example, even though Union is the host school, or should that be talked about in the committee and then given to Union as a recommendation? He sent a name over to me for approval on our side, and I don't know the person. I really have no background unless I start asking people or invite the person over. So it's kind of difficult for me. I felt uncomfortable putting forth a name to this board to be a volunteer for a program that's hosted by you. So just as something to think about, if you have some ideas on that, please send them my way. But I will be scheduling an interdistrict meeting so that we can discuss those things.
Will it be virtual or are we gonna do it in person?
We could do it online. I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay, just ask.
I thought at one time we had discussed the fact of, oh man, I'm like Jerry, I just lost my train of thought.
A joint committee?
Now, limiting volunteers,
Yes, we have talked about that.
not adding.
And as the years of the athletic committee has progressed, and before some of you were on it, we had said about volunteers, but since we each had a coach from each school, that we felt comfortable that if our coach was okay with our volunteers, then we were okay with them. And the same way with Union, if they were okay with their coach was okay with them, then that was kind of how we were covering that basis. That's been quite a while ago that we talked about that. Because as you said, we don't know people from over there, and they're not going to know our people either, but we still want to keep community involvement as much as we can, so.
And I'll be honest, this is a pat on the back to Tammy and everybody in here. We do a pretty good job of making sure that those volunteers fulfill all the requirements that are required by PIAA. If they're the host school, they should be in charge of all of that. I feel uncomfortable again, overseeing volunteers that really I have no administrative role, and making sure that, they have their clearances and this, that, and the other. But if it's our program, I absolutely have, vested interest in that person.
So we allow as many volunteers as people want to do it?
We had talked years back of limiting them, yes,
Football is notorious
for
for
having a lot.
having
Right.
almost more coaches than what they have kids.
And that's why we had also, which I appreciate the list, Tammy, over the years, we had really lost track because they came and went and were all over the place, and we'd say, who are the volunteers for this sport? But we don't know at this point because it just really got to be difficult to track.
I think during COVID, when people weren't allowed to go to the games,
Then they
a lot
want
more
to
people
volunteer.
volunteered.
And our volunteers are for 1 year, and we have them reapply each year too, so they don't just become forgotten.
We don't give that volunteer's card, door cards either, access.
That's correct.
I think you have a good point, Bill. I mean, if they're hosting the program, those volunteers are technically working with their coaches.
I'd be okay with, recommending a person to them
Right,
if it's somebody from over here that I'm familiar with. But I'm not comfortable, recommending somebody for their program that I have no clue who they are.
yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point that the hosting school should be taking the
I feel like
volunteers.
that should go before their board, not our.
Yes. So like these two footballs that we did tonight technically should have been addressed by you.
Yes.
But we've always done them,
But
so.
it could be an
So there are
endorsement, couldn't it
right.
be? Like, this board approves them because they've worked here, so you make a recommendation to them
Could be.
versus policy for them. Let them do the policy side. And we endorse the volunteers that
are coming from this district.
Maybe
Because that
use
gets,
language.
That gets that
I think, yeah,
connection back to community, especially if it's a collaborative effort, which it is.
So yeah, so basically, if this board has approved them, then we all feel quite good to send to them for approval or whatever, so.
But they should go to now them to be approved.
And then they go down to them to be approved, yeah.
But if we have paperwork, we could forward it on. to them.
Absolutely.
I mean, we do that.
Right.
I can have that discussion with Mr. Kendall tomorrow also. Get that discussion started on that side.
Yeah, and then that way, if their board approves that volunteer you don't know anything about, and then you want to bring it to us, if the board is already, their board has already okayed it, then we would then look at it as someone for a volunteer.
double approval.
Right.
Exactly, it's like an endorsement of child protection.
Yeah,
Well, because they may not know some of the people we refer from here,
exactly.
so.
But what if they don't have the same requirements for their volunteers that we have for ours?
I think that needs to be we need to be on the same page.
As long as they comply with PIAA, which they have to, I think that I'm okay with that.
I think we go a little stricter than that, don't we?
Do you make them get their clearances every year as a volunteer?
As
So
long
it's
as
5
they,
years, right? You stay
Right.
with the 5-year rule.
it's just like the
Because
two
they don't
that
have a
are on there
break.
now were there before, and they just submitted their letters, so they carried on. So those clearances, as long as they're within date,
Right.
they're good. If they're outdated, then I ask them to, they have to redate them.
I don't see that it hurts to have it come to the home school. You endorse it, you pass the package or a copy of the package, rather, I'd keep the package here. But I would want the same equal package from them.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Bill, just a question, this is stupid, but talking about the handbook, did we at one point in time have the calendar separated out? So we had a school calendar and a school handbook that were separate? That may,
Not since I've been here.
I was gonna ask the same thing, because do the parents get one and the students? Or do the just students?
Just-
Because if they have to keep this to have the hall passes, then the parents don't have the calendar.
we don't have a calendar, so, I mean, maybe it goes back to when we were in school, I'm
Like I
not sure.
said, when I first started teaching, they were
Two separate documents, but that may eliminate your your concern if you separated out that calendar and issued a separate calendar, so
Yeah, is that
kids
what-
could keep the handbook.
And the
The
parents,
kid,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
go,
finished.
no, go.
Do kids still get the Chromebooks to take home? Like they all still get computer access?
9 through 12, they're able to take theirs home.
Well, I was gonna suggest, like, if you still did a calendar, but then maybe kept the handbook and did like a DocuSign. And then you could have the handbook like electronic for the students, but you would still get a signature. And then you'd be able to record it. So you could look at that option.
Boy, then it could just get bigger and bigger if it's.
Yeah. Limitless possibilities.
well, food for thought, and Madison got a teaching job in South Carolina, and she's teaching 9 through 12 business classes, and everything's online. There's no papers. It's all on websites or virtual or whatever. We haven't quite figured it out because I keep saying to her, well, where's the copy of this? She says, they keep telling me it's online. I don't know. So they have switched to, the whole Georgetown County has switched to everything is online, or there's very few paper that goes out. So, yeah. Okay, so federal programs report.
I don't have anything new to report. With the school year just getting underway, I'll probably have a summary report for you next school board meeting.
Okay, thank you. District report.
Today was the first day of in-service. We had the entire staff down in the elementary cafeteria. We had breakfast, we reviewed handbook policies, we took our staff pictures. Kelly was there to provide a welcome on behalf of the school board. We had a number of professional development sessions throughout the day. Tomorrow will be day 2. We're going to provide professional development for the new science book series that we have purchased. And then the high school, they'll continue on with the MTSS that Bill had referenced as well. So we've had a really good start back in the school. Wednesday, we do have kids coming in, as we alluded to earlier. We're ready for them. Again, I'd like to thank Mark and his crew. Both buildings are in absolutely fantastic shape. They went above and beyond this summer as well as the ground. The only issue that we have going on right now is our phone lines. We can call in to 5820-3555 number, but it cannot connect into the correct. So I'm waiting to the bitter end before I send out my welcome back message. I'll continue to work with Aaron and Jeff to reassure the community either to call the 4661 number and then dial the extension down in the elementary, or if we can direct into both the district office and elementary. That's very concerning to us that we don't have that direct pathway into the elementary. Just wanted to provide you with the update and let you know my welcome back message will be coming out tomorrow. And that concludes my report.
Okay. So we need to do the consideration to approve the 2023-2024 music event, elementary and high school schedule as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the affiliation agreement for an academic experience site between Pennsylvania Western, Penn West University, and the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So it's dual enrollment.
No. Don't believe.
I didn't hear you.
I wondered if this was the dual enrollment.
No, it's to have a speech pathologist come down and do
Okay.
student teaching or block teaching at the elementary.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve charging $2,626.58 per student for each sport that an outside cyber student participates in an AC Valley. The cost will be billed directly to the Cyber School of Record. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
What's the formula used to get that figure?
When Emmy was here, we took the overall cost of the athletic budget, divided it by the number of athletes that we had, and came out with that number. Since we're blending the two organizations together and we're splitting all the costs, we're going to have to sit down and review that number next year. It's going to be one of the goals on the business office. But that's just how we came up with that.
We haven't had any cyber.
Yeah, we haven't had anybody for long.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
David, do you charge homeschool children as well?
No.
So do we have any update on the Mid-Atlantic youth or nothing with that?
We're still in negotiation with them. We will be providing the education up there. We're working with the intermediate unit 6. They're looking at staffing it. I met with Edgenuity to provide the online learning program up there, and they're willing to do it. And Titusville called today and said that they're not sure if they're going to be able to staff that program. So we stopped having meetings until we get some more information from the Department of Education as well as the Department of Human Services, because it seems like they have different ideas as far as how to roll out that program.
So who's Ingenuity in comparison to Titusville?
You said which one?
Ingenuity?
Yeah, it's just like our virtual program that Julie Raybuck uses with
yeah.
our AC Valley Cyber Kids.
Okay.
And then we also use the Titusville Rock program. So we just had two options and wanted to make sure we explored both of them.
When will they be moving in? Any idea?
November 1st, they're supposed to have kids. They're going to start with 12 kids, add 1 kid per month, and max out at 60 beds.
So this all has to be decided between
November 1st, yeah.
Are you still getting a lot of pushback from the rite of passage group?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we actually stopped having our weekly meetings because they're just not productive.
Interesting.
Are they a for-profit or a non-profit? I don't remember.
For profit.
Okay.
That's why they want to run everything.
And the other one was for-profit too, I believe, wasn't he?
I believe, yeah. They,
And I think I asked this just to double check, if they want to hold this center in our district, they have to sign the contract with us, correct? They don't have
yeah, we don't even have to have a contract. By school code, we're in charge of the education program. So the relationship we had in the past, they had certified teachers up at Mid-Atlantic Youth, and it was just the established agreement between the school board and Mid-Atlantic at the time. Well, this is an outside organization coming into Pennsylvania who've never run programs, and they don't have any certified educators. So I'm reluctant to put the districts in Harmony.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but PDE is saying we.
Yeah.
PDE is telling them they can't run the program, that we have to run the program, but they're still fighting against it.
Wow, should be a good relationship.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
they'll change their mind
really.
and not come in.
Right. So if, so Oil City, or, sorry, Titusville's Levy will supply teachers for it, do we have to, supply teachers ourselves then? Hire
No,
teachers?
no, the program's set up right now through Ingenuity, the online program, similar to Oil City and Pathway. They have the exact same program that they're using up there, so we model it off of it. Now, Intermediate Unit 6 would send up special education teachers and supervisor. We may have to add staff eventually, we may have to think about some kind of administrative position to help oversee and maybe be a liaison between the two. But right now, we're starting out with 12 kids. We're going to be providing, a robust virtual program. And I explained to them, the state of Pennsylvania loves cyber school, so, if it works everywhere else, why can't it work there?
Right.
And Clarion area, when they do the psych center, do they do it virtual too? Do you know? Have you,
I'd have to get back to you on that. I believe they do, but I don't recall right now. off the
I
top
just,
of my
yeah,
head.
I wondered how they did that. I was just curious how they were handling it.
Are they fighting IU6 teachers as well? They want to supply their own special ed teachers?
No, we're good to go with special education, the
Okay.
program we have set up. And Dr. Maines, he also oversees other alternative education programs. So he has lots of experience and really good to be working with right now.
So it's just the regular ed students that they're fighting?
Yeah.
Because they think they can make money by educating, not paying us.
Yeah, because that's the piece of it, is that we charge our daily tuition, our average daily membership to the home school districts that are sending the kids out. And they want to reap all those benefits of, the monetary side of things coming in, to provide a program that may or may not be robust enough to meet the academic requirements in Pennsylvania.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if they even do have any regular ed students coming in.
They told me between 60 and 70% is special education.
Right.
Their other facilities.
So they will have some.
Okay.
But who knows what they're going to get? I mean, they're backlogged. They're really pushing the program to get it up and running. So it'll be interesting. But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll continue to provide you with updates, and when we're in October, I'm hoping to have an education plan in front of you, as well as rite of passage and the Department of Education and everybody else.
Wow.
Can we schedule a time to go see the facility prior to the students and after the students get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we did one walkthrough, but it was nowhere close to being done. Just it's not there yet, but we will for sure.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Sure.
Student board representative report.
As Dr. Jordan already stated, some of the fall sports have already started their practices. So some of the sports include football, golf, cheer, cross country, and volleyball. Another thing that is going to happen this week, Wednesday, on this Wednesday, school is going to start for all students here in the district. Many of the students do have mixed emotions about this, as always.
Parents do not, let me just say that.
But I know that the seniors are eager to start their private grades.
Thank you. Do we have a police report? No?
No.
Okay.
Okay. We will move on to policy. Jeff, do you want to do policy?
Sure. Can I lump all three of these together?
Yes.
Consideration to approve the first reading of policy 006, 216.1 and 251. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on those? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on. Brady, would you do facilities?
Sure. Maintenance report, please.
First of all, I want to thank all of our staff, Jay Acktor, Richard Preston, Jim Stans, Ron Nail, Heidi Hummus, Rose Pittman, Jeanette Amsler, Sally Craddy, Tina Adams, Bart Texter, Christy Parks, Dan White, and James Best. Did a wonderful job this summer. They're awesome. They're the best staff. They do everything for this district because they care about this district. It's so important to keep our own people doing our own schools and attending our own stuff. It sure shows. they care about the place and make my job a lot easier. They're a wonderful, wonderful group of people. This last month, the booster heater before school started blew out. We got a new booster heater put in at the elementary school. This is for the sanitized the dishes in the dishwasher. Has to heat the water up to 190 degrees. That went out this summer, so got that hooked up. The HVAC equipment's all been serviced, filters changed, ready to go. The water fountains and sinks, filters have been changed and ready to go. Fire alarm systems, fire suppressions, and extinguishers have all been tested and passed this summer. The elementary walk-in cooler and freezer, I think I talked about it before, it's now hooked up and running. It's hooked into an emergency generator. We had an electrician come in, we're able to install a transformer because of voltage differences, and that's our big ones, our big walk-in cooler and freezer on the emergency generator now. So we're good to go. So we're ready for school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Diane, can I ask you to do transportation?
Sure. And consideration to approve assigning the transportation director as a designee to oversee the routes placement of students on routes and making route adjustments throughout the 2023-2024 school year as deemed necessary. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
B, consideration to approve the request from Myers Transportation to remove the following vehicles from their fleet: 2008 Dodge Van, 2010 Honda Odyssey, and a 2014 Honda CRV. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
C, consideration to approve Walbert Busing Incorporated staffing the Bus 10 daily route beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
D, consideration to approve the request from Walbert Busing Incorporated to add a 2012 Bluebird 72 passenger school bus number 6862 to their fleet. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
E, consideration to approve the request from Calendar Transportation to approve the 2018 IC 72 passenger school bus, previously ACV bus number 10 to now be bus number 11, beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
F, consideration to approve the request from Tracy Irwin Contracting to add a 2017 Chevy Traverse to her fleet. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
G, consideration to approve the 2023-2024 contractor driver list as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Patty, could I ask you to do miscellaneous for us?
Career Center report.
So we didn't have a meeting in August. We did have a special meeting last minute to approve hiring for a temporary custodian. And then we also approved to allow construction to start for a girls' locker room at the Career Center up there. They didn't have a place to change. They were changing the bathrooms, and you'd have to have somebody monitor the bathroom, make sure nobody went in while they were changing.
For the heavy shops, yeah.
Yeah, for the heavy shops, yep.
So we meet next Monday.
Yep, next Monday. So I stopped in one time during the summer. They were cleaning everything. It looked really well. Our numbers for the programs are rising. There's 2 or 3 shops in the afternoon that are at capacity, and they're still looking at how to expand the shops that are at capacity. The welding is really popular, and I believe it's the diesel technology in the afternoon that's full as well. So they're trying to see how they can expand that. That's been about it.
Intermediate unit report.
We did not have a meeting in July. We did have a special meeting to hire the assistant executive director. We have a meeting on Wednesday, which will be our first meeting with the new executive committee, which is all new, so wish us luck, it should be interesting.
You're in charge of it, right?
Some correspondence.
Other than what's listed there, I don't think there's anything else.
FEMA report or acceptance for the resolution of part of the Clarion County Hazard Mitigation Plan as attached. Technology Committee report.
We have not met for this year yet.
Athletic Committee update.
We did not hold a meeting.
Football field renovation committee update.
No meeting.
You haven't heard anything on your grant?
No.
Was there did they give you any kind of timeline for announcements?
No.
Finance Committee update.
No.
Meeting Thursday, right?
What's that?
There's a meeting Thursday.
Thursday morning.
That's it.
Okay, I don't think we have any old business. Would you like to do new business for us, Eric?
Sure. New business. Copy of the March, July 2023 Act 97 report from the County of Armstrong regarding the Habaki minor subdivision in Habaki Township. 2 lots is attached.
And then we need to add the motion about the changing the rates for the lunch.
Okay.
And re-advertise.
Yeah,
Okay, make a motion to re-advertise and change the rate to $13.
It was $13.33 for a child-specific game, so I think that was the agreement with making $13.13.
For $13.33. So moved.
Second.
But then what about our current study hall monitor who receives less?
Well, I think we should adjust it.
Adjust her to.
We can make the second motion and provide her with an adjustment.
Okay.
2 motions.
2 motions. Second motion to adjust the.
wait, we gotta vote on the
Oh,
first one. I just have one question. This is just one position for the high school, or will they can't do both schools, right?
We had 2 positions advertised,
So we're still looking for 2?
one for elementary and one for.
Okay, so this will be 2 positions.
Is the pay the same?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's the same position, so, yes. So we'll be advertising for 2 again, which we never got any takers, so 2 lunchtime monitors at this new rate.
How many hours? How many hours?
3.5, Bill said.
3.
3.5 hours.
Would that be the same for the elementary? Like my lunch period doesn't last 3.5? So would I assign them other duties like?
Couldn't one person come up here and do a lunch and then go down there and do a lunch at the same time?
Same time.
Well, I think Bill has a study hall and in-school suspension to cover up here.
How much do you need, Lori?
So my lunch periods run from 10:50 till 12:30 this year. Last year they ran till 12:50.
So you have 2 hours and 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah, but I mean,
Could you?
if we made it 3 hours, I could probably use, maybe help. I don't know.
Sure, there's something.
Do something.
I don't know if anybody's gonna wanna work for 2 hours.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
But if we tell them 3, I'm sure you can find
Oh, yeah.
something for them to do, or do you want to just say 3.5?
I would say 3.5.
I make them the same.
So they're both 3.5 hour positions.
And then I can just assign them something else.
Yes.
I'm okay.
Anybody who wants to wait on chairs and things like that too, they used to do a lot of that, waiting on people in chairs.
Yeah, if that's permissible, that.
Kitchen
Yeah, I
girls
know.
try to
Stacy
come out
would
and do
appreciate
that,
that.
it's just, it's kind of.
And if she's short-staffed in the kitchen, then she could, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's things they need support
We
with. so.
just have to
Yeah, like
watch
if
that,
it's,
you know, get
it's
in
not
trouble.
any union stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah, it can't be
tables and
anything
things.
that's union stuff.
It's a non-union position.
Yeah. Right, but I mean. they're-
But your cafeteria workers are unionized.
Yeah.
But if they're okay with that person, like helping wipe down tables and stuff. That could be part of it as well. Especially in the end when the kids are gone.
Right. Okay, so we're all good? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now,
And the second motion to raise the rate of
Joyce,
Joyce Hoffman to 13.33 per hour, 3.5 hours per day. So moved.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Did we ever find out what her rate is?
Didn't we say we were gonna boost her above what that person would be paying?
That current rate for her is 1163.
So she is getting,
But to bring somebody in that hasn't been here,
For the
making the
same
same
rate?
pay. So we would have started the other one out at 10. And she's making,
Joyce, 1163.
So just add, what's the?
add $1.63 to the,
To Joyce.
so 1491 or 1496 is my math.
96.
Just adding that $1.63. I mean, we would have paid her $1.63 more an hour than bringing somebody new in. That's just my thought. I don't want to push Joyce into retirement.
Encourage her to stay a little bit longer.
I'm just trying to think, are there any other positions that we're gonna step on toes? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
These are union positions, you said, though.
Because they're not union, so.
They're not union, they're not.
So we're okay, okay. I think so.
And if somebody's making less and they want to
Yeah,
go into that
somebody
position,
might want to
then
move.
maybe they want.
Sounds good.
So you're gonna make Joyce's pay rate
96.
Somebody double check my math on that. That was very fast math. Okay.
Okay, so we're all good?
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Second is that.
Who seconded that? Patty. Okay, I don't think we have anything else. We're good in the order, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, do I need to ask if you're all in favor? Aye.
Thank you all. Good evening.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, it's perfect timing.